What's up, guys? Week 8, Thursday Night Football, and I just couldn't wait for NFL.com to get their shit together and chop the all-22 up into per-play clips. So you're going to get a heavy dose of the Buccaneers offense today in a longer video that goes a little bit deeper and diagrams plays a little bit more so that I can show you exactly how Baker Mayfield managed to play really well while the Buccaneers offense managed to really suck. A lot of it's got to do with first down runs. A lot of it's got to do with how they ran the ball on first down and how predictable it was. Some of it's got to do with Todd Bowles forfeiting on fourth down. A lot of it has to do with a lot of bad drops. But you're going to see. So enough chatter. You already know that the topic of this is going to be Baker Mayfield actually played pretty well. Let's get to the film. All right, guys, I am champing at the bit to get this one out. We're going to show a little bit more of this game than I typically show. Typically, I only show the dropbacks. I'm going to show some of the runs in this game, too, just because it is staggering how often the Buccaneers run the ball up the middle on first down. And never with great results. It consistently fails, and they consistently do it anyway. This one also, this play people get wrong a lot. It's the only quote-unquote batted ball from this game, but if you watch the tight copy, this is not a batted ball at all. It is, however, a plus pocket movement and a bad throw. You'll see right here, Baker throws the ball off of the head of a defender because he's bracing to get hit. It's a bad ball, it's inaccurate, it's panic under pressure. It's also pretty immediate pressure. Plus pocket move, bad throw, not a batted ball. The only batted balls in this game came from Josh Allen, who is 6'5", let me remind you. Here, on 3rd and long, as is typical for the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield throws a dot. This is a lovely throw. Solid throw, beats the coverage, in time, in rhythm, very accurate, great velocity. That's the kind of throw that Baker Mayfield makes very well, the kind of throw that I think makes him a good NFL starting quarterback. Here, first a rare first down throw, and Baker just misses. You can see better from the tight copy. This is really disappointing, right? You got a lot of yards on the table there, and he just misses. I don't know if Mike Evans is sloppy out of his break. Let's take a look real quick. I'm looking for an excuse because this is bad. And I wish I could say it was uncharacteristic, but Mayfield's made mistakes like that this year. Just odd downfield misses to open dudes. Yeah, no. I mean, Mike Evans isn't exactly flying out of his break, but Mike Evans never does. That's not his game. All right, after a false start penalty, it's going to be 2nd and about 15, and Baker's going to throw the quick tunnel screen. This is basically the only short game that they do to the wide receivers, and Trey Palmer slips, nothing doing. It's a routine throw, nothing to it. Baker's on target, just receiver slips, blocking doesn't get set up properly. So now we're on 3rd and 15, and Baker just takes the routine throw. But wait, there's a drop. Now, I have a bone to pick because I count 8 drops in this game. PFF counted 2. So tell me, is that a drop? That seems like a drop. So there's 1 drop. All right, that'll end drive 1. Drive 2 is going to start with, a handoff right up the middle for nothing. So we will get to 2nd down. And here Baker's going to make a nice little routine throw within the rhythm of the offense. Nothing to it. Nothing to talk about. The routine throw does get a first down, though, so naturally, we run on first down, we get no yards. I don't mean to say we as in I'm a Bucs fan, I mean to say we as in we are watching the Buccaneers. Here, this snap is going to go over Baker's head. Not a good snap. I think he should have had it anyways. This is tough. I call it a fumble as it is, but he does a really good job of recovering the ball, plus pocket movement, and getting the ball out on a throwaway before he's hit. So 2 plus pocket movements, a fumble, and a throwaway. A lot going on this play. So once again, we're back in, you guessed it, 3rd and long. And Baker actually makes a pretty solid throw here. Now, if this was not Baker Mayfield, I might call this solid because he uses a ton of velocity to really thread it in there. right? It's a nice little super skinny slant or maybe a premature post. And it's between two defenders. I want you to watch this because, I mean, look at the opening. That's great velocity, in tight, really accurate ball, but it does end up being about a yard or two short. Now, it will be 4th and 1. Most coaches in 2023 are going for it. But Todd Bowles, in his infinite wisdom, decides he needs to kick a 50-yard field goal, which is, of course, blocked. Because there is justice in this world, and it punishes cowards. So the Buccaneers get a goal line stand, turn the ball over, and keep the game 1-score difference. First down, of course, we run it up the middle for no yards. Duh. Gotta establish that run. Build a rhythm. It'll get more effective as the game goes on, right? So second down, 10 yards to go. Baker is at the middle of his end zone in his dropback. Here, this is difficult. Because Baker is short, he doesn't really have an opportunity to throw over the middle on this mesh. Right, so here I would like Baker to throw the drag to Mike Evans. However, there are two defenders sorta in his face. It's not real pressure, it's just enough that he knows if he throws a line drive, that thing's getting batted. Instead, he looks away, and he does actually locate an open running back here. That's his release valve. However, he's just a little late. It's a pretty accurate throw, actually, and we'll see on the tight copy. That's a good throw, but Poona Ford, of all people, a nose guard, has some really good coverage, and the running back just misplays the ball. I won't call this a drop, but you could, right? Look at the ball. You see the ball? Again, I won't call it a drop because the coverage is actually good. But the ball is right here. And around the ball, those white things, those are gloves. So, theoretically, you'd like a receiving back to catch that ball. Whatever. Won't cry over spilled milk. 3rd and long, as is tradition, as is watching any Bucs game. Baker Mayfield on a nice 5-step drop. Top of his drop, what do you want him to do? Well, here's the problem. This line is the first down marker. That's the yard to gain. Who's open past it? Let's rewind it a second. So I've redrawn the line to gain in red. Wait for it to zoom out a little bit. There we go. So the line to gain is in red. You motion the tight end inside to the slot, and then everybody's running curls basically at the sticks, but in reality, both Godwin and Evans on the outside curled too early. They both curled short of the line, as well as the tight end, Otten. This whole play is designed to go primary receiver right here, Trey Palmer. Right? The idea is everybody's curling, defense settles down, and he basically just traipses through the middle of the field wide open. This is a long developing play. Now here, an average football fan is going to look at this and say, well, look, Otten's wide open, and he is. And you might think that Baker Mayfield's missing a read, but let's say that Baker throws that ball to Otten. He's got a linebacker and a defensive back, both of whom are going to deplete Otten before he can even turn around, before he can obviously get to the line to gain. He's also not the first read, and the first read is Trey Palmer, a very fast wide receiver, who's currently crossing the back of a linebacker. That's the matchup you wanted. This play was designed to go to Palmer. And Baker is under siege, right? So right here, you see, everything's working the way I want it to. Baker lets go of the ball right on time. You've got a defensive lineman jumping with his hand up in the air, and Baker is going to have to throw through a very muddy pocket. It's not quite a plus pocket move, but it makes things more difficult. And on 3rd and long, when you have one viable route, you don't need things more difficult. They're already as difficult as they can possibly get. No matter. Bernard just makes a really good play. Now, if I were Baker, this is a bad throw. If I were Baker, I would have lofted the ball, put some touch on it, and let Palmer run under it. Here you can see it's a little behind. It's not particularly accurate. And if Baker had just another blink of an eye, He could have thrown the same pass, obviously leading his receiver rather than putting it behind him, and Palmer would have been gone. But he didn't have time. And then the Buccaneers punt like crap, and suddenly this game is going to be out of hand in the first quarter. Yikes. All right, drive 4. The Bills have just made it 10-0, so naturally, we run up the middle for no gain. Now, these runs aren't all halfback dive. They're varying degrees of up the middle, but the point is the same. They're running on every first down, and it's typically the same kind of run, which is completely worthless and not helping anybody. Here, Baker makes a good throw. This is excellent scheme. Like, Dave Canales, his play sequencing is absolutely dreadful, but his actual plays are pretty good. He just needs to abandon the run. If he abandons the run and goes empty more often like he does here, you'll notice, by the way, almost all of the best plays that the Buccaneers run are out of empty or 4 wide. Baker is better without those crappy running backs dragging him down. They don't block well, they're not awesome receivers, and they certainly can't run. So just throw with receivers. You got a lot of good ones. You'll see here, Godwin just sneaks out from the zone. There's nothing super creative about it. You've got a little bit of an over from Godwin with a skinny post from Palmer. It throws off the defense, and Baker makes an accurate, although easy, throw. It's a solid throw because he recognizes the coverage bust. Good job of processing very quickly. Did everything he was supposed to. Certainly better than average, right? If you have Mac Jones, you're praying he gets the ball there. But that was a solid throw. Nothing great, nothing to write home about. First down, we run up the middle. It's just what we do. Buccaneer football, baby. Now, you won't see it because I'm not showing the run, but there was actually a holding on that. So it's going to be 1st and 13. And then after 1st and 13, obviously, there's going to be a false start. So now it's 1st and 18. Because the Buccaneers just consistently set Baker Mayfield up to fail. He has no run game. He's constantly in long yardage situations. And if it's not going to be 3rd and long, let's make it 1st and long. So that's the only way that they can coerce the Buccaneers to throw the ball on 1st down. And here we're going to have a second drop. 1st and 18, Baker just throws the out, both of the hands, hits both of the hands, pops out of the arms. So PFF has 2 drops in this game from the Buccaneers. We've already seen 2 pretty fucking clear drops. I don't know how you argue that this ball is not a drop. Look at the ball. Can you see it? Here, I'll show you. Right there. The brown things around the ball are the receiver's arm. You gotta have that. Good throw by Baker, too. That is a 20-yard downfield throw on an out. I know it seems simple. It's 15 yards. I know it seems simple, but there's not a lot of quarterbacks that have the arm talent to make that throw in the first place, much less make it accurately. It's placed well. He puts the ball towards the ground to hide it from the defender. It's in stride, outside, placed well. I don't know what more you want. I mean, maybe you don't throw the ball to Raheem Jarrett, but goddamn. He did everything he was supposed to. There, routine throw. Yes, it's 10 yards, but when it's 2nd and 18, you get a little bit softer of coverages. So, good throw dropped, routine throw caught, and now we're right back where we always are with these Buccaneers. 3rd and 10. It's comical. I don't know what the fuck this is. Clearly something went wrong. Top of the drop, not that pressured. Mike Evans looks like he's running an out. Baker throws it inside. I don't know if he's missing drastically or if this was supposed to be an out and up. The only thing I can imagine is it was supposed to be some kind of out and up because even the defensive back was... Here, let's watch Baker's reaction. Oh, he's getting hit. That's it. Right? He's at the top of the drop. He gets the ball out in time, in rhythm. It's not like he's sitting there patting it. We certainly can't blame him for this hit. Maybe you can blame him for the throw, and we'll discuss that in a moment, but you can't blame him for getting hit, right? the lineman just gets trucked. So as he's in the middle of throwing, he's being hit, and that's when you're hit, especially up the middle while throwing, you tend to miss inside. Ball comes out super wobbly and weird. That's why the ball's inside. That's not a pickable ball because he's being hit. The reason that it's inaccurate is not in his control. However, it is bad, right? If you're going to throw while being hit, bad things are going to happen. You have to either get the ball out quicker or be a stronger man. So, bad throw to end it on 3rd and long. And this time, 50-yard field goal blocked, 57-yard field goal, perfect, right down the middle. All right, drive 5 is going to start with a short field because Josh Allen, 6'5", gets a ball batted. I know that's supposed to be Baker's thing. It was Josh Allen's thing today. Again, we're not grading Josh Allen, but that's not pickable. It's just bad. If you throw a batted ball, it should land on the ground. It's unfortunate if anything else happens. So naturally, we start with a halfback dive up the middle, right? No, play action, super spooky, and then we just throw a screen anyway. Hey, a screen is a hell of a lot better than running up the middle. Good for you, Dave Canales. Routine throw. Baker does a really good job of baiting the defensive line up, holding onto this ball as long as he can to allow the running back to slip out and allow the blocks to develop. Smart. Really, really good job by Baker. Plus pocket movement to not get the ball batted by that rushing end. But a routine throw that anybody, including you and I, could probably hit 9 times out of 10, if not 10. 1st and goal. Will it be a run up the middle? Oh, more fake and trickeration. And Baker with a really nice throw. And a Godwin with a really nice catch. This is just a typical RPO-style play-action slant. Baker with a pump fake and a guy in his face. A free rusher in his face, so that's a plus pocket movement to avoid him. Look at the placement of this ball going right over Jordan Poyer's arms. Right past the hand of the defensive back and right into Godwin's hands. That is gorgeous. That is what you love to see from your starting quarterback. Solid throw. Bucs are on the board. Tie game? I believe so. Don't you dare worry. The Bills will drive right down the field and take that lead back. It'll be 17-10, I believe. And we run up the middle in a 2-minute drive. So yeah, it works because it's a 2-minute drive, but why are we running the ball in the 2-minute drive down 7 against a team that is heavily favored to beat us? I don't love that idea. Here, 1st down throw, routine, fine, good, get it out. I'm fine with swing passes and even screens. I'm sick of the running game because you know it doesn't work. So now you're at midfield and it's 1st down again, no, it's not. It's 2nd and 3. And what do? You run up the middle in the 2-minute drive as an underdog. I just don't understand this coaching staff. It's not that they're bad. It's that they're worse than I could possibly imagine anybody ever being. 3rd down, routine throw from Baker. Get the 5-yard pickup, get the 1st down. Baker's probably just thrilled that it's not 3rd and 10 like usual. It's always an adventure with this Buccaneers team. I mean, that's almost dropped, and it's a perfectly thrown, routine, halfback Texas route. Like, this couldn't be easier. It's not even a Texas. It's just a straight curl. Oh, boy. But also, even though that's executed well, what did it gain you? 6 yards? It's a 2-minute drill. You need to get down the field. I need to see something deeper down the field. I'm sorry. And then especially when your offensive line is jumping all night long. Yet another false start. There she is. You got to throw deep. Now here, we got a sack. Time to dissect the sack and figure out whose fault it is. Here's the top of the drop. Baker's already looking down at one free rusher in number 7 here at the bottom of your screen. And then 91 Ed Oliver is about to break through, and he can tell. Where do you want Baker to go with this ball with defenders incoming and absolutely no ability to throw at this point anyway? We got to rewind a snap. Or not a snap, a tick. Who's open? So right here is basically when the ball has to be out to have any chance, right? And even if he throws this ball, decent chance he gets hit while throwing, decent chance that makes it a bad throw. He's got two options. Either pray to God that Trey Palmer at the top of the screen, number 10 by the yard marker, pray he wins deep. You just air it out up and hope he gets under it. Or two, try to make a very precise throw to Mike Evans for very little gain in a 2-minute drive. Baker does neither and takes a sack. You can't take a sack there. So it's a negative sack in my opinion, simply because he had enough time to at least throw the ball away. And when you have a streak on the sideline, just throw the ball in his direction out of bounds. You will live, fight another day, stop the clock. Instead, 3rd and long, per usual. And Baker does a good job of avoiding pressure, does a good job of getting the ball out to his tight end, but it's just a routine throw, and it's not going to be enough. This is, of course, when the Buccaneers do their patented line up for a field goal and then never take the snap and then just go to halftime not kicking the field goal. Why? In fact, actually, after this, they took a delay of game and punted. What the fuck is the point? If you want them to jump off sides, line up your offense and make them jump off sides. But it's also 4th and 2. Go for it! Debacle. So the Bills are going to score another touchdown, and the Buccaneers are kind of realizing that maybe, just maybe, they're going to have to throw the ball to get back in this game. So 1st down throw, and of course, Baker is screwed. Because Mike Evans is wide open, but Baker Mayfield can't levitate above the free rusher, I believe that's Leonard Floyd, to throw the ball. Incredible spin move. Don't know how he did it. So that's a plus movement, real good. And then a great run for 12, 13 yards. This is a great run, and Baker's not a very athletic quarterback. His athleticism is just sufficient, but he's been really, really good in the pocket this year, in part because he just doesn't give up. And that spin move is something that confused me a lot about quarterbacks like Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson earlier in my evaluating career, just because I felt like that was not sustainable. I felt like that was luck more than anything, but I've realized now that it has a lot more to do with not giving up and being persistent, right? Baker never gave up on that play, and that's what makes Deshaun Watson so good in the pocket. Well, he's not good in the pocket, but so good at extending plays. Some quarterbacks just refuse to give up, continually move around, and if you keep moving and you keep struggling, it makes things difficult on offensive linemen. They make mistakes they otherwise wouldn't make. So naturally, the Buccaneers follow that great run from Baker Mayfield up with, 2 runs right up the middle, and Baker is once again in 3rd and long. What the hell are we doing? You are down 2 touchdowns. I hate going along for this ride with you, Buccaneers. I really wish your coaching staff would go away. So finally, we're in empty on 3rd and long. This is where Baker usually does the good stuff. Protection doesn't hold up, and Baker makes a stupid run. Let's see who was open, if anybody was open. Here's the top of the drop. Another case of, what the hell are we doing, Dave Canales? Why is everybody running short? Why do we have 2 receivers running into each other in the middle of the field? Nobody is ever open at any point. I'm not going to diagram the play because it was just terribly designed. I'm going to give Baker a neutral run on this because he did gain some yards. A better coach would probably have gone for it in a better position at roughly 4th and 3, 4th and 4. And there was just nothing to work with. Plus pocket movement for extending the play, obviously, and Todd Bowles gets to do his favorite thing and punt on 4th and 1, 2, maybe 3. Awesome. I love it. So the Bucs force a punt, but unfortunately it's a wonderful punt. Hey, good thing you played the field position and punted rather than going for it on 4th and 2 from midfield. Now you get to be lined up at your own goal line and run up the middle for almost no gain on 1st down, as is tradition. Hell, we'll even do a little bit of a run breakdown. We got the tight copy. You got 6 blockers. 64 does a poor job of getting off of his man on the first. He's supposed to chip. He gets off a little bit slowly. Hainsey never gets over. It's just kind of poorly designed. Like, you got backside blockers, 2 of them. Why? Right? If you're running to our right, their left, why do we have the right guard falling down? Why is the tight end sealing his block on Von Miller so ardently when Von Miller's not going to chase down a halfback stretch on the opposite side? Why is your left tackle, or your right tackle rather, falling down and laying on a man as if he's in pass block protection? The entire right side of the offensive line, 3 linemen doing a terrible job. Also, it put in a position to fail by terrible design. And also, the Bills knew it's coming. Look how fucking low. Look, the line of scrimmage is the 5. The safeties are playing 8 yards deep because they're not throwing downfield. Because the Buccaneers, oh my gosh, they even brought Jordan Poyer up. So they have a single high safety maybe 10 yards deeper than the line of scrimmage. Because the Bills, with no secondary, don't fear the Buccaneers' vertical passing attack. In fact, they knew another run up the middle was coming because that's all the Buccaneers do. And it goes nowhere because it never does. And once again, it's 3rd and long for Baker Mayfield because this Buccaneers team is the worst coached team in the NFL for a 2nd consecutive year because Todd Bowles is at control. He should have been fired as a defensive coordinator of the Buccaneers after their Super Bowl because he tried to blow it for them. And I know their defense played really well in the playoffs. He was an idiot. Regardless, this is not a Todd Bowles video. This is a Baker Mayfield video. 3rd and long again, and we are running all curls. And look, all of them are short of the line of scrimmage. So there's the line of scrimmage. Where do you want Baker Mayfield to throw the ball? Because all of these are punts. They're all curls, and then Mike Evans is running kind of a lazy over. So Baker makes a solid throw. We'll call it routine. But it's still going to be 4th and 2. So Dave Canales, by his play call, decided we're going to punt. Either that or every single receiver on the entire play ran the route wrong and cut it short of the line to gain. Either way, that is unforgivably terrible coaching. All right, I know what you're thinking. No, we're not watching a replay. No, I did not mirror the screen. The Buccaneers punted, the Bills punted, and the Buccaneers are right back in their own end zone. So, 1st down. I heard a lot of people on this particular drive bitching about Baker Mayfield being late on his reads and not finding the open man. Here's the top of his drop. Who's the open man? Now, you might want to say it's Trey Palmer right here. But it's not. Why? Because this is zone, and you've got a linebacker here who needs to take one step to at least break the ball up, if not score a touchdown his damn self. So Baker can't throw there. He's got to wait. And he waits, and he comes across his progression. He's on his 3rd or 4th read, at which point he realizes I'm fucked. And it's too late. So he does a really good job of getting the ball out, a throwaway that doesn't get intentional grounding, but also isn't in harm's way. I want you to watch this pocket collapse on him. This is a 2+ pocket move, throwaway, a positive throwaway. Right here, nobody's open. This is when he needs to be making decisions. Now, if Cade Otton were more of a primary receiver right here, then this would be where you need to put the ball, and this is exactly when you would need to throw it. However, it's not the case. Baker Mayfield now can't throw there. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, Baker is looking to run, and Cade Otton's wide open at the top of my screen. Well, there's a reason for that. We've discussed already, 1, Baker Mayfield's kind of short. And 2, if you throw while being hit, you will probably miss inside. Cade Otton's in the middle of the field. You cannot afford to miss inside over the middle of the field. If you throw through this nose guard who's about to hit you, I think that's Poona Ford, there's a decent chance the ball's batted. We've seen what happens when balls are batted near the goal line. Happened against the Lions, gave him 3 free points. So Baker realizes my best bet is just to get the hell out of Dodge and try to throw this ball away. And that's exactly what he does. He does a good job of it. Lives to fight another day. So no, he wasn't late on a read. No, he didn't miss an open receiver. He just got screwed because nobody got open and the protection didn't hold up. Here, you could argue Baker needs to throw with a little anticipation here because he does get what he wants. Right? It's a curl to Godwin. That's the play. And if Baker had released a little earlier, he might be able to get it. Now, again, it's zone. Number 7 right here would have crashed down on that. And it's going to be a hit. Godwin's going to have to make a catch through contact. Or it's going to be a play on the ball. And that's not what you want at this area of the field. Once again, I ask you, who do you want him to throw to here at the top of his drop? He's not working all the way to his backside running back just yet. You have to actually look at your wide receivers. Cade Otton's covered, but again, that's your third option, if not fourth. Mike Evans is nowhere near progressed in his route nearly enough to actually target him, and Godwin's not going to work. He's on a curl. They're sitting on it because they don't fear your vertical offense. Trey Palmer's on a deep over. He hasn't come open yet. Right here is where he starts to, and Baker would need to make an excellent throw in order to hit him. So instead, Baker rolls out, and he tries to use his legs to make something manageable on third down. Neutral run plus pocket movement. The guy has no options. He is being hung out to dry. I don't know what people want from him, but people, 2 dudes on Twitter, were really mad at Baker's processing on this particular play. I don't know what people expect. I don't know if people understand how progressions work or how coverages work, but you just can't throw that curl against that zone. Here, however, I was disappointed. I thought that this was Baker's worst play of the day by a mile, and I thought it was a missed opportunity, so we're going to break it out special. So here's how the defense is going to be playing on this side of the field. It's very well disguised, and it gets super messy on the other side, but we only need to focus on the play side. You've got Jackson is going to play the curl. 7 in the slot here is going to have to bail out to cover the seam because Evans is effectively running right between these two. It's effectively cover 3 on the top, and he's splitting the center safety and the right safety. In this case, 7 is going to substitute for an outside corner. You get my meaning. This means that Godwin's going to be basically uncovered. Let's roll the tape, and you'll see what's so frustrating about this. Right from the start, it works out perfectly. Right? You get some confusion. You see 43, the linebacker, is going to stay in the middle because he doesn't know what's going on. And right here, Mayfield's at the top of his drop. Right here. The ball needs to be out right now. As soon as he hits this, he needs to see his guy and start releasing. But Baker takes that double hitch, and he's way too late. He's so late. He needs to be hitting Chris Godwin before he crosses the linebacker, not after he crosses the second linebacker. So this ball needs to be hitting Godwin about here. Whoops, wrong thing. Needs to be hitting him like here, and instead Baker's trying to hit him over here. That's ridiculously bad. This is insanely late. This is really, really bad processing, really hesitant, and honestly, at this point in the play, Godwin's no longer an option unless you throw that on his shoelaces and protect him from the defender. And he doesn't. He's late, he's high, he's behind. It's all terrible. That's a pick 6 waiting to happen. That is an interceptable ball, and I hate it. You'll see better from this angle. You don't get to see Chris Godwin breaking open in this, but you do get to see Baker is throwing to a guy who's at least double covered and about to be triple covered. What are you doing? Just terrible. If you're going to wait that long, take advantage of the fact that your protection held up and go deeper. Just really panicky, bad processing. And you know what? It happens. It's one play. Baker Mayfield had many, many dropbacks in this game, and even Tom Brady missed reads. Patrick Mahomes misses reads all the time. But when you're only allowed to throw on third down, you have to take advantage, and Baker simply didn't. All right. The Buccaneers have forced another punt, and yet again they are backed up against their goal line. This time it's not quite as bad. They're down 14 points, and there's no time in this game. They should never be running the ball. So naturally, they try to run up the gut on first down, but are thwarted by their own false start. The only thing saving the Buccaneers from their own incompetence is their own severe incompetence. As you can see, they are down 14 points. You have to go 90-something yards. Why on God's green earth are you trying to run the ball? And here's another drop that PFF evidently doesn't agree is a drop. That looks like a drop to me. That goes right through the arms, and that's a good throw. That is a 10-yard throw in tight coverage. Nobody else open, as you can see. That's a solid throw. Give Baker some credit for that, and it goes through the hands. Apparently not a drop. PFF only saw 2. We've seen 3, and we're about to see a lot more. Here you'll get a little better of an angle on it. Man, no, you won't. You just got it. It's out of camera, but that's clearly a drop. So we're at least 3 drops. Like clear drops. All right, 2nd and long. Baker moves around the pocket. Now, people on this play were saying, oh, Baker's holding on to the ball way too long. And you know what? They ain't wrong. It's zone. You expect it to be zone. The play side is to the right. That's where you're running a curl and a streak behind it. It's called a dagger concept. And it didn't work. And that's when you got to look off of it and see that Trey Palmer is standing here having a picnic. Hit him with the damn ball, Baker. Instead, he gets it out to the running back just as well. That's a routine throw. I don't think it's that late. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's perfectly fine. Keep everything play side. That is not bad processing. It's certainly not good processing, but it is perfectly adequate processing. And an accurate, albeit super fucking easy throw. Nothing to criticize Baker for here. I know it's not what a lot of people want to hear, but not everything can be his fault. All right, this one upsets me. Trey Palmer, he's wide open deep. Look at this guy, all the way on the left. I'm not going to circle him because you can't miss him. Mike Evans is about to be wide open too. Baker still gets it. Great job. Awesome throw. We'll call it good or great. It's Baker, so we downgrade it to good. Here's the issue. It's the Buccaneers offensive line, man. They protect Baker pretty well, but they are mistake prone like all get out. So naturally, do you see the hold? It's a little bit of a weak hold, but Gadecki gets an arm around Von Miller, and they're just going to call that every time. It's not really a hold. It doesn't actually impede him whatsoever, but now it is 1st and like 20 because Baker can't ever throw from ahead of the sticks. The routine throw on the check down works, gets some yards, and we're at 2nd and somewhat manageable, at least by Buccaneers standards. Nobody's super open. Baker dancing around in the pocket. Again, you could throw to Trey Palmer, but he's not to the play side. He's a decoy. Baker gets the routine ball out to the running back, and that's perfectly fine. That's playing within the offense. It's in time, and it's perfectly adequate processing. I saw a couple people online yesterday saying, oh, Baker's just missing all these reads, and I don't think they know what the hell they're talking about whatsoever. All right, another one. At the top of his drop, play side is to the right. Chris Godwin's not really open. The middle of the field is not open. Yes, Mike Evans is open at the bottom of the screen. Baker is focusing on the opposite side of the field. That check down is absolutely proper. Move the chains. Routine throw. Solid job. Nothing wrong with it. I know fantasy mavens are going to want Mike Evans to get the ball more. That's not Baker's fault. Call plays that go to Mike Evans. Run Mike Evans deep. Put Mike Evans on the play side. Once again, everything that's happening is going to the right. The primary read on this is an out to Raheem Jarrett. Why is he the featured receiver? I don't know. The second option is going to be this post to 10 Trey Palmer. Baker puts it out there real nice on this little out curl, button hook-ish. It's kind of messy because it's so close to the sideline. And it's a good throw. This is a solid throw. He makes up for his drop earlier with a really nice catch. Really nice catch. Great footwork. So if you want Mike Evans to get the ball more, talk to Dave Canales. He needs to call plays that are at least on the same side of the field as Mike Evans. Here, Mike Evans is arguably play side. But same, routine play. Ball gets out, completed to the tight end. You can't complain. This is perfect. I mean, it's perfect processing, and that doesn't mean he's a great processor, but it means he's running the offense the way it's intended to be run. Same here. Nice throw, routine, short, keep moving the sticks. It is really frustrating that the Buccaneers are trying to go 90 yards down 14 points, and they are taking their damn sweet time with all these tiny little short routes. But note that Baker Mayfield is absolutely hitting all of them, and it's not like the Bills are playing prevent defense. These are tight windows he's hitting. And these are difficult coverages to analyze. Here, play sides to the right. Trey Palmer's getting double-teamed on the streak. I don't know who you want him to throw to here. I guess I would throw to Godwin right now. Baker can't get there before he gets hit. All right, here's the top of the drop. This is where Baker needs to make his decision. He's upright. It's a 5-step drop. He's stepped back up, and he is ready to play. Ball needs to be out to Chris Godwin, in my opinion. I don't really like what's going on in the middle of the play here. I don't know what all this is. These receivers seem to be stacked up, and that's confusing Mayfield. That's what he's staring at. But personally, I'm putting that ball where that circle is and letting Godwin come get under it for a first down. Instead, Baker holds onto the ball. He stares at that clusterfuck we mentioned earlier for a little too long, and he eats a sack. It's a bad sack. That's on Mayfield. He had 2 bad sacks in this game, and you've seen them both now. Again, ball just needs to be out, and at this point, it's too late for him to throw. Don't know what he was thinking. Again, play design is really stupid. Doesn't make sense. Either a player messed something up or Canales is calling just harebrained plays. And here, Baker feels pressure right off the get. He's not even at the top of his dropback, and he feels like 57 is bearing down on him. So he steps up, and he's being sacked, and there's nothing he can do. Again, this is going to be a 5-step drop. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's a 3-step drop. So right here, the ball needs to be out. Who do you want him to throw to? Who do you want him to throw to? Because he doesn't feel that he can throw from that pocket. He's got a defensive tackle breaking through about to hit him. He's got 2 defensive ends who have run the gamut, rounded the circle, bent the hoop, and they're coming to get him from the backside. So you got to step up. Now, you could argue Mayfield should stop right here, reset his feet, and make a throw, but it's curls. We talk about this with Justin Herbert all the time. When you run Hank, when you run curls to the line, there's really nothing to do after the play breaks down. So here we are, 4th and 13. Got a little motion. Nobody moves. We know it's zone. And it's going to be a one-man route. You'll see the slot receiver and the tight end are both running like 5-yard slants. I don't know why the hell that's happening. And then Mike Evans is going to run a 10, 15-yard curl. Why is that happening? You know that it's going to be zone. You know it's probably going to be too high. Run something creative. They don't. So all you got to look at is Chris Godwin at the very top of the screen. He's going to run an out. Now watch right here. Has a little bit of a hard time getting out of his break. Why? Watch again. Pretty obvious. There's a hold. Or some illegal contact, whatever you'd like to call it. And it throws the timing off just a tad. Right here. A little clunky at the top because he's being held, he's being touched, he shouldn't be touched. And you'll see here on the wide copy, ball's actually thrown really well. I didn't grade it because it's a penalty, and the penalty materially affected the play. But this ball nearly gets caught by Godwin. It's nearly a perfect throw as it is, despite the contact that slowed Godwin up and is the reason that they're not in sync on timing. Here it is again. Godwin won the route, but because he was slowed down, instead of being right on his palms and letting him get out of bounds, it's off his fingertips. And that's why the ref threw the flag. That's why we get a first down anyway. Illegal contact. We live to fight another day. And here we get drop number 4 of the game. Certain drop number 4 of the game. Baker steps up. Great throw off the hands. Right? He's throwing the ball from the plus 48. Ball goes to the 18, so 20 yards downfield, about 16 yards past the line of scrimmage, and it's just off the hands of the tight end. You're a tight end. You got to catch that ball, man. But not a drop, according to PFF. Or if that is a drop, then 2 of the other 3 we've seen so far weren't. 4 certain drops. Here, Baker has tons of time in the pocket, gets the ball out to Cade Otton, and it's a routine throw. Fine. Again, people are going to complain Baker didn't go downfield enough on this drive. You need to go downfield on this drive. Well, he just threw downfield to Cade Otton and it was dropped. And then here on this play, who's he supposed to throw to? Because I know that you think the streak at the top of the screen is open. There's a safety over the top. See how that's not open? You can't throw the out because it's double. This is the right play. Baker read it really well. That's good processing. That's optimal. I believe that makes it 3rd down, again, as is tradition. Who's open? You could try to throw that curl. It's going to be very tricky because if you... the curl I'm referring to is this one. The problem with trying to throw that curl is that then you have to try to get the ball over this linebacker. Or maybe it's a defensive back. I'm not sure. Regardless, if you try to get that ball over him, you might get it picked on accident. And that's a disaster. So Baker just moves, throws the ball away. Good job. 2+ pocket movements. A lot of pressure. Nobody open. Good job. No amount of anticipation gets him out of this, right? Nobody's open. So that makes it 4th and long. Top of the drop, and he's already being sacked. Obviously nobody's open. Baker can't even get to the top of his drop. He's just running around trying to make something happen, and here he gets face masked. Thank Christ, because the offensive line completely let him down, and it should have been a turnover on downs but for this face mask, but for Baker's relentlessness in the pocket, right? If he just curls up and takes a sack like a man, he doesn't break out of this, and if he doesn't try to run with this defender on his back, he doesn't get face masked. That's a really good... Honestly, this is exclusively converted because Baker refuses to give up and runs with a man on his back. And the man on his back gets frustrated and face masks right there. Really good job by Mayfield. Let's give him at least 1+ pocket movement, maybe 2. We'll give him 1 because he's Baker, so we got to be harsh on him. But that's a really good job. He's the only reason this drive is still going. Steps up. And this is a dime. This is a ridiculous throw. This is an ungodly throw. Mike Evans is not open. Baker is taking a chance because he's finally allowed to throw on 1st down. The big problem with running the ball on 1st down all the time is you don't have any downs to play with, right? When Baker's throwing, it's either 2nd or 3rd and long, and you can't fuck around. Here, it's 1st and long. Baker can fuck around. He's got downs to play with. So he makes an unreal throw that Mike Evans just drops. This is a fucking gorgeous throw. Elite throw. And do not get it twisted. The tight copy should show us just how good a throw this was, but god damn, you could see it from the wide. Being hit, puts the ball on the hands in double coverage. Right here, Mike Evans has the catch and 2 feet in bounds, and Mike Evans just drops it. That's on Evans. Mike Evans has dropped a ball in every single fucking game this season. It is mind-numbing to watch. That is drop 5. PFF, you dumb motherfuckers, defy you. I defy you to tell me that they don't have more than 2 drops in this game so far. So naturally, Baker follows that incredibly elite throw with a bad one, but these things happen. Third and long, Baker's specialty. Bad throw. It wasn't pickable. It was too far out of bounds, but it was late. You got to be earlier on this. This is one of the 2 or maybe 3 plays where the haters are correct. Baker was late on the throw, and he left the ball inside. Not pickable, but bad. So 4th down, here she comes. And we got a dime on our hands. Now, it was a little underthrown, but it had to be. Now, somebody degraded this throw because... or denigrated this throw because it hit off the defender's back of the defender's helmet to a little bit on the way into Mike Evans' arms. You know why? I'll show you. So I've drawn some circles and some lines, and they kind of look like something inappropriate. But what they're meant to show you is, look, both of these deep defenders have their eyes on the ball. They're both looking back at it, which means they're about to break on it and actually try to play the ball. Additionally, The defender that is running with Mike Evans is pushing him upfield. So Baker sees he's got a window, and it's not going to be in time with the route. Baker sees that this circle is the place where he can put a football that Mike Evans can catch and the defenders can't get to. It's not where the route is running like in Madden. It is creativity. He is altering the play a little bit, backyard football style, Mahomes style, to get his big-name receiver a jump ball opportunity, even though it's not perfect in the route. And the ball does gently graze the top of the helmet of the defender, as we will see. But it does not change trajectory. It lands directly in Mike Evans' hands. He almost drops it again anyway. Here we'll see it clean, and then I'll show you the slowed down version. That's lovely. As you can see here, locate the ball. Do you see the ball? The ball's right here. Right there, where my mouse is. You can see it come down, and again, it's not leading the receiver. Here's where it gently grazes the helmet of the defender, but it lands perfectly in Mike Evans' arms. And that's a touchdown. That is a great throw. I'd call it elite if it didn't touch the helmet. But it did, so we got to be harsh. Now the Buccaneers are down 8, so they're going to go for the 2-point conversion to make it 6 instead of 7. And Baker botches this. This is a bad throw. The play, nobody's open on the play, right? It's supposed to go down to 1 over here, Rachaad White. He's not open at all. Mike Evans is not open on the curl. No amount of anticipation makes this play correct. Baker's got time in the pocket, though, so he waits it out. You could loft the ball to the back of the end zone to try to hit Godwin. Instead, Baker tries to fire one like a MFer. But Poona Ford does a really good job of getting his hands up. This is actually a really smart play because he knows that the offensive linemen of the Bucs can't get any further downfield or else they'll be illegally downfield. And therefore, he just drops off and says, I'll just play the middle of the field like a quarterback spy. The ball wasn't going to get completed even if Poona Ford wasn't there. There was a defender over the back. But sometimes bad plays are rewarded. Bad throw, great outcome. And so here we are, Buccaneers down 6 points with no timeouts and like 22 seconds on the clock at their own 25. Nobody's throwing an 80-yard Hail Mary, so Baker does a nice job of doing the Tom Brady method, insanely quick outs to get the ball clocked, and work your way slowly down the field to a place where a Hail Mary is viable. Again, he's got like 18 seconds left on the clock, and again, I don't like this. I think you got to get the ball out quicker, but Baker does a really good job of staying up through the hit, 2+ pocket movements, and throwing a routine ball to his running back, getting him out of bounds, and getting up the field. Baker Mayfield's pocket management in this game was unheard of good. Love to see it. Here's another first down. We still have 70 yards to go, and there's another 10 yards. We now have 60 yards to go. Routine throw, but I really like the idea of utilizing every second on the clock rather than getting panicky and throwing deep because, you know? Here's a little false start, so now we're back to 65 yards. False starting on a 30-second drive is really, really pathetic and difficult to do. So Baker's going to go for everything here. And this is one of the best Hail Marys I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Ball lands directly next to Chris Godwin, wide open. And yes, there's a ton of illegal contact, holding, defensive pass interference, etc. going on in the end zone. They're never going to call it. It doesn't matter. Hail Marys are cheap plays anyway. Baker does a good job of navigating the pocket, give him a move, throws the ball 70 yards downfield. Who else on earth can do that? Here, Godwin needs to be locating the ball. Apparently, he's not. He's losing it in the lights. And there the ball lands right in his lap, and he totally should have caught that. It is just as easy to catch as a punt. Nobody is fucking with him. It's just on Godwin. So as you can see, I gave Baker Mayfield a B+. I thought he was okay, pretty average in the first half, and then in the second half, I thought he took off and played excellent football. Again, had a lot of drops, minimum 5, arguably as many as 8. Somehow PFF came up with 2. I have no idea how. Mayfield did have that one really, really upsetting interceptable play. I really didn't like it. I'm probably going to do a smaller breakout clip video of it just because it was really frustrating. But I think that a lot of people seized on that one play because on that one play, Baker Mayfield was slow to read. He did throw late. He was inaccurate with the ball. It was really frustrating, and it was almost entirely a mental mistake. And it was a pretty crucial play. They could have kept the drive going on third down. However, for the most part, Baker Mayfield processed perfectly adequately, if not well. He stayed within the offense. He moved the ball as he was supposed to. There just wasn't a lot going on. The Buccaneers ran a really condensed offense. The Bills brought their safeties way down low, and the offense couldn't run the ball. So naturally, when they refuse to give up on the run, the offense isn't going to be good, right? Baker Mayfield doesn't actually get to start playing until second and long at the earliest. Most of the game, he didn't get to throw the ball until 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 8 at the best. So really, really difficult circumstances. He's basically the only thing that makes this offense work whatsoever, avoiding pressure really well, really accurate with the ball, accurate on 77% of passes, 82% of passes in the second half. League average is about 70, 72. More positive plays than negative, really accurate downfield, 57% accuracy plus percentage, which remember is just those downfield impressive throws divided by impressive throws plus inaccurate throws. So really good when throwing downfield. Overall, I gave him a 7.25 slugging, and I even dinged him a little bit more than I think is appropriate. For instance, that Hail Mary at the end of the game, you could totally argue that's an elite throw. It's a 65-yard throw in the air on a dime to win the game, and Chris Godwin just didn't recognize that the ball was landing in his lap. That's really good. There are probably 5 or 6 quarterbacks who could even physically accomplish that because Baker has a really strong arm, right? It probably traveled about 70, 75 yards in the air. That being said, it's a Hail Mary. It's not a real football play, so I gave it a solid grade. It's positive, but just barely. Additionally, I charged Baker Mayfield with a fumble for that snap that went over his head. I thought he should have corralled it. I think a regular-sized quarterback probably does corral it, but because he's about 6 foot, it's a little harder for him. You could argue that that's not a fumble. It's just a bad snap, but we're being harsh because it's Baker Mayfield and people think that I'm biased towards him. I don't think that you could possibly come away from this game thinking that Baker Mayfield played poorly. I think it would be a real stretch to argue that he played adequately. I think he clearly played well. The only question is how well. If you're optimistic, I could see somebody arguing he played really well. If you are trying to find reasons not to like him, I could see you saying he played solid. Overall in the season, Baker Mayfield's played really well, but lately he's been hiccuping since the bye, right? He had that C game against the Lions, not good. And then he missed all those open deep balls, right? Like he didn't make any crucial mistakes, but that was killer. There were opportunities to be had. And then against the Falcons, he was pretty good and almost great, but on that last drive to go win the game, or the second to last drive to go win the game, he threw a terrible interception, which was both an awful decision and a really inaccurate ball. I digress. He bounced back really nicely here with another B-plus game, bringing his season average to a 3.21 GPA, which means that on average, he's getting a B+. And his mode, his most common grade, is a B+. And his median is also a B+, which means in 7 games, he's got 5 great or better games, because a B+ is the threshold for a great game. Remember that in the last 3 years, if a quarterback gets a great plus game, they win against the spread roughly 60% of the time, and they win the football game roughly 56% of the time. So it's a pretty indicative metric, albeit a metric that I invented, and it's subjective to my grades. Unfortunately, evaluating and scouting in football is subjective, and there's no way to get past that. At least I keep track of what I think. Mayfield, despite his deep ball struggles a little earlier in the season, bounced back, had a few really nice deep balls in this game, including the drop by Mike Evans in the back of the end zone. And he's been really accurate, 76% on the season when the NFL starter average is 70, right? He's accurate downfield, especially to that intermediate level where he is killer, 57% accuracy plus, league average is 44. Positive plays on 30% of dropbacks, league average is 23. Negative plays on only 24.5% of dropbacks, league average is 30. The kid's killing it, and he's doing it in a really difficult situation where he's only allowed to throw the ball on 3rd and long and occasionally 2nd down. They waste every 1st down, and the offense is extremely conservative, loving to run dinks and dunks to try to protect the ball rather than throwing downfield, spreading out the defense, and giving Baker easier reads and bigger windows. Frankly, I've been really impressed, and I think that the Buccaneers have a diamond in the rough, a gem to build around. The question is, can they keep their offensive line intact? Can their wide receivers fight off Father Time for another couple of years? And can they please get Todd Bowles the hell out of Dodge? He's terrible. Or if you're going to keep him real far away from the offense, because it's clear to me after Byron Leftwich running the ball right up the gut every first down for 2-3 years, they're doing the exact same thing with Dave Canales. Despite the fact that Dave Canales comes from a wide zone rushing attack that likes to get outside the tackles. They're not getting outside the tackles. That's not Dave Canales' bread and butter. It tells me that there's some oversight. Dave Canales loved going empty in the preseason, and the Seahawks love going 11 personnel and empty in Seattle. That's where Dave Canales came from. But the Buccaneers don't really do that much, despite the fact that it's their most efficient manner of operation. It's their most efficient formation is empty, and they're really, really effective out of it on tape. Their strength of their team, in their opinion, is their excellent wide receivers, so use them rather than your terrible running backs and your completely ineffectual running game. I digress. I thought Baker Mayfield played really well. Some people were saying that he wasn't processing well and he was late and inaccurate on his throws. I've laid out every snap, all of my thoughts on him. I would absolutely love it if anybody left in the comments where they disagree and why. Additionally, I'd love to hear who you're excited to see this weekend because I'm posting before Sunday for once. So throw a comment in there about a quarterback you've got your eye on and you'd like to see me make a video of this upcoming week. Until next time, I'm just going to keep grinding film. Hasta.